I spent 6 months in complete silence until that night when my stepfather landed the first punch right in front of my mother and our relatives. I didn't run this time. I hit record on my phone, activated the hidden camera, and called my lawyer. His name was already typed into the restraining order draft sitting in my desk drawer. My family wanted me to stay quiet. The court didn't. On confrontation day, I walked into that courtroom with my attorney and a box of evidence that would change everything. In the end, the person dragged away in handcuffs wasn't me. My name is Mara Sutton, and I'm 28 years old. I work as a revenue reconciliation specialist at Redwood Meridian Health in Riverton, Oregon. It's a decent job with good benefits, the kind that should make any parent proud. But in my family, nothing I did ever seemed to be enough. The cracks in our household didn't appear overnight. They'd been spreading for years, like frost on a windshield, barely visible until the whole thing shattered. My mother, Vivian, married Dale Mercer when I was 15. Lana, my half-sister, was only 7 then. From day one, Dale made it clear who his favorite was. Every achievement of mine got a nod and maybe a, "That's nice." Every breath Lana took got a celebration. When I graduated summa cum laude from Oregon State, Dale spent the entire dinner talking about Lana's middle school science fair project. When I landed my job at Redwood Meridian, the family dinner that night was dedicated to Lana getting a B+ on her history test. The financial disparities were even more blatant. Lana got a brand new car for her 16th birthday. I was told to keep taking the bus because you're so responsible, you don't really need one. Lana's college tuition fully covered. Mine. You're smart enough for scholarships. Mara. But it wasn't just the favoritism that ate at me. It was Dale's need for control, wrapped in a thin veneer of joking around. The shoulder shoves when I disagreed with him. The playful arm twisting that left bruises. The time he accidentally knocked my laptop off the table when I wouldn't lend him money for his poker night. My mother always had an excuse ready. He's just passionate. You know how he gets. Don't make it worse. The breaking point came on my 28th birthday, March 15th. I'd taken the day off work, bought myself a small cake, and hoped stupidly that maybe this year would be different. I came home to find the house decorated with balloons and streamers. For a brief moment, my heart lifted. Then I saw the banner, "Congratulations, Lana, Student of the Month." My birthday had been completely forgotten, not just overlooked, erased. When I mentioned it at dinner, quietly, Dale laughed. "Oh, that's right. Well, you're too old for parties anyway. This is what matters, Lana's going places." That night, I made a decision. I stopped talking to them beyond the bare minimum. Pass the salt? I'm working late. No, I can't make it. 6 months of calculated silence. I moved my important documents to a safety deposit box. I started keeping a journal, documenting every interaction, every slight, every moment of aggression. I installed a hidden camera in my old room during one of my brief visits, perfectly legal since it was still technically my space when I stayed over. I began screenshotting every text message. Dale's messages were particularly revealing. "You ungrateful bitch. Answer your mother. Too good for family now. Keep this attitude up and see what happens." Each threat was dated, timed, and backed up to 3 different cloud services. My mother's texts were pleading at first, then accusatory. "You're breaking my heart. Dale says you're being dramatic. Lana thinks you hate her." The manipulation was textbook, but I'd finally learned to read the book. I found Elliot Lane through a coworker whose sister had escaped an abusive marriage. Whitmore and Lane LLP specialized in domestic violence cases. During our initial consultation, I laid out 6 years of documentation. Elliot reviewed everything with the kind of thorough attention that made me feel, for the first time in years, truly heard. "This is escalating," he said, tapping the latest message from Dale. "The language is getting more aggressive, the threats less veiled. In my experience, this pattern leads to physical violence within 3 to 6 months. So, what do I do? Keep documenting. Don't engage unless absolutely necessary. And if he lays a hand on you, call 911 immediately. Go to the ER, get everything on record, then call me. I memorized his number. I kept his card in my wallet, another in my car, a third in my desk at work. I downloaded recording apps on my phone and tested them weekly. I was preparing for war while hoping for peace. But peace was never Dale's intention. And my silence, rather than calming things, had only stoked his rage. He was a man who needed control, and my withdrawal was the ultimate defiance. 6 months to the day after my forgotten birthday, I would get the call that would bring everything to a head, but I was ready. More ready than Dale could have ever imagined. The call came on a Tuesday evening at 7:43 p.m. I was meal prepping for the week when my mother's ringtone shattered the quiet of my apartment. I almost didn't answer, but something in my gut made me swipe right. Mara, thank God. Vivian's voice was thick with tears. It's your grandmother. She's taken a turn for the worse. The doctors, they're not optimistic. You need to come home. Tonight. My grandmother lived in the old family house on the outskirts of Riverton, where my mother had grown up. Despite everything, I loved that woman fiercely. She was the only one who'd ever stood up to Dale, the only one who'd seen through his charm. I'll be there in an hour, I said. The drive felt both endless and too short. I pulled up to the familiar 2-story colonial at 9:15 p.m., noting Dale's truck in the driveway alongside my mother's sedan. My stomach clenched, but I grabbed my purse, the one with the recording app already running, and headed inside. The house was too quiet for a medical emergency. No relatives gathered in worried clusters. No hushed phone calls with doctors. Just the sound of the TV from the living room, and was that laughter I found them in the kitchen. Dale was at the head of the table, beer in hand. Vivian was serving dinner. Lana was scrolling through her phone, a glass of wine at her elbow. My grandmother's chair was empty. Where's Grandma? I asked. Oh, she's fine, Vivian said, not meeting my eyes. She had a little spell this afternoon, but she's resting now. We just thought... It's been 6 months. Mara, we need to talk. The ambush was so predictable I almost laughed. Instead, I kept my face neutral and sat down, making sure my purse was positioned to catch audio clearly. Talk about what? Dale leaned forward, his face already flushed from drinking. About you being a selfish bitch who thinks she's too good for this family. Dale, Vivian started. No, Viv, she needs to hear this. He stood, swaying slightly. Your sister's exhibition is next week. The whole family's supposed to be there. You're going to show up, you're going to smile, and you're going to contribute $5,000 to her art school fund. I'm not giving Lana $5,000, I said calmly. The hell you're not. You make good money. You have no kids, no responsibilities. It's time you started contributing to this family instead of just taking. I stood up slowly. Name one thing I've taken from this family in the last 5 years. That attitude right there. Dale moved around the table toward me. I backed toward the doorway, keeping distance between us, knowing the hidden camera in the corner would catch everything. I'm leaving, I said. You're not going anywhere until you apologize to your mother and write that check. No. The word hung in the air for a heartbeat. Then Dale lunged. The first slap snapped my head sideways, hot pain blooming across my cheek. Before I could recover, his fist connected with my ribs, driving the air from my lungs. I stumbled backward, crashing into the doorframe. Dale, stop! Vivian screamed, but she didn't move from her spot. Lana had her phone up, recording, a smirk on her face. World star, she muttered. Dale grabbed my hair, yanking my head back. You want to disrespect me in my own house. This isn't your house, I gasped out. It's Grandma's. The second punch caught me in the stomach. I doubled over, my hand fumbling for my phone. Muscle memory kicked an emergency call shortcut. 3 taps on the power button. The 911 operator's voice crackled to life just as Dale raised his hand again. 911. What's your emergency? Domestic violence in progress, I wheezed loud enough for the phone to catch. 847 Pine Street, Riverton. Dale Mercer is actively assaulting me. Dale froze. The room froze. Even Lana lowered her phone. Officers are on the way, the operator said. Are you in immediate danger? Yes, I said, straightening up despite the pain. Blood dripped from my split lip onto my shirt. But he's stopped hitting me now that you're on the line. Dale's face went from red to purple. You called the cops on family. You're not my family, I said. You never were. The sirens were audible within minutes. Dale tried to grab my phone, but I'd already backed into the hallway, keeping the operator on the line, narrating everything. He's approaching me again. My mother, Vivian Mercer, and sister Lana Mercer are witnesses. There's also security footage. When the police arrived, I was sitting on the front porch, still on with dispatch. My face was swelling, my ribs screamed with each breath, but I was calm, focused, ready. This was just the beginning. The emergency room at Riverton General was fluorescent bright at 11:30 p.m. The triage nurse took one look at my face and fast-tracked me through. Photos were taken from every angle. A doctor documented each bruise, each cut, measuring them with a ruler for the official record. The radiologist confirmed 2 bruised ribs. Every detail was entered into the system, creating an undeniable medical trail. I texted Elliot from the hospital bed. It happened. I'm at Riverton General ER. Police report filed. His response was immediate. Do not speak to any family members. Document everything. I'll file for the emergency protective order first thing tomorrow morning. By 2 a.m. I was back in my apartment with a prescription for pain medication and a thick folder of medical documentation. I couldn't sleep. Instead, I sat at my kitchen table and began organizing everything: the ER discharge papers, the police report number, the photos I'd taken with my phone before the swelling got too bad. I uploaded everything to the cloud drives Elliot had designated, creating redundant backups. The family assault began at 6 a.m. First, Vivian. How could you call the police? Dale spent the night in jail. The neighbors saw everything. We're ruined. Then, Lana's Instagram story. My sister is having a mental breakdown. Pray for her healing and our family's strength during this difficult time. She'd attached a photo of herself crying, filtered to perfection. By noon, my phone was flooded. Aunts, uncles, cousins I hadn't spoken to in years, all with the same message dressed in different words. Family doesn't involve police. You're overreacting. Think about your mother's reputation. Dale's a good provider. Don't ruin his career over a misunderstanding. My cousin Marcus was particularly venomous. You always were dramatic. Remember when you cried about not getting into Harvard? This is just like that, making yourself the victim when things don't go your way. I screenshot every message, every social media post, every voicemail transcribed. Elliot had warned me this would happen. They're creating a narrative, he'd explained during our preparation sessions. They'll paint you as unstable, vindictive, attention-seeking. Your job is to stay silent publicly while documenting their harassment privately. Let them hang themselves with their own words. The most insidious attack came from Dale himself, through his brother Tom. The message was clearly dictated. Mara, Dale is deeply sorry for the misunderstanding. He'd had too much to drink and didn't mean to get physical. He's willing to pay for your medical bills and give you $10,000 for your troubles if you drop the charges and tell the police it was a family dispute that got out of hand. Think about it, that's more than you'd get in court, without all the drama. I forwarded it directly to Elliot with the subject line, attempted witness tampering. His reply, absolutely. Keep him talking if you can. Get a specific admission. I texted Tom back. Dale hit me twice and grabbed my hair. Is he admitting to that? Tom's response came an hour later. He admits things got physical but says you were aggressive too. The $10,000 is a peace offering. Take it or leave it, but decide fast. His lawyer says once formal charges are filed, the offer's gone. What exactly is Dale admitting to? I pressed. Jesus, Mara, he hit you. Okay, is that what you want to hear? He fucked up, but sending him to prison won't unfuck your face. Take the money and move on. Screenshot. saved, forwarded. The gaslighting intensified over the next 3 days. Vivian called sobbing, saying I'd misremembered what happened, that Dale had only pushed me after I'd thrown something at him. When I asked what I'd supposedly thrown, she hung up. Lana posted a TikTok about toxic family members who create drama for attention, garnering thousands of sympathetic comments about her narcissistic sister. My grandmother, the real reason I'd gone to the house, finally called me herself. "I wasn't dying, sweetheart," she said, her voice tired. "I didn't even know they'd used me as bait until the police showed up. I'm sorry." "It's not your fault, Grandma. I know what he did. I saw your face on the news." My blood ran cold. The news. Channel 6. They didn't name you, but they mentioned a domestic violence incident on Pine Street. Dale's mugshot was shown. Sure enough, within hours, everyone knew. My work email flooded with concerned colleagues. HR called to offer support and time off. The story was spreading, and with it, the family's panic. The final blow came in a group family text initiated by my mother. "Mara has destroyed our family's reputation over a simple argument. Dale is facing criminal charges and could lose his job. Lana's been crying for days. If anyone has any influence over Mara, please talk sense into her before she ruins all our lives. We're willing to go to family counseling, but she needs to drop the charges first." I stared at that message for a long time. Then I typed my only response to any of them. "Dale assaulted me. You all watched or participated in covering it up. I have everything documented. See you in court." Then I blocked every single one of them except Grandma. The war was officially on, and I had more ammunition than they could imagine. Elliot Lane's office at Whitmore and Lane LLP occupied the 12th floor of a gleaming downtown Riverton building. When I arrived for our strategy meeting 4 days after the assault, my face had transformed into a spectrum of purple and yellow. Elliot's paralegal, Sandra, winced when she saw me. "This is actually helpful," Elliot said, gesturing for me to sit. "The visible injuries during our filing will make an impression on the judge. Now, let's discuss our approach." He spread several documents across his mahogany desk. "We're pursuing a 3-pronged strategy. First, the temporary protective order that's already been granted based on the police report and ER records. Dale can't come within 500 feet of you, your home, or your workplace. Already, emergency orders process quickly with proper documentation. He's been served. Now, step 2, we're filing a civil suit for assault, battery, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. The evidence is overwhelming. We have the security footage from your hidden camera, the 911 recording, medical documentation, and now Tom's text admitting Dale hit you. What about the criminal charges?" Elliot leaned back. "The DA's office is reviewing the case. With your evidence, they'll likely pursue misdemeanor assault charges, possibly felony depending on your injury classification. But we don't wait for them. Our civil case moves independently and typically faster." He pulled out another document. "Here's our demand letter. We're asking for $50,000 in compensatory damages medical bills, pain and suffering, lost wages from time off work, plus punitive damages to be determined at trial. We're also demanding a public written apology and completion of an anger management program." Dale will never agree to that. Initially, no. But his lawyer will explain the alternative, a public trial where all this evidence comes out, potential criminal conviction, guaranteed loss at civil trial with possibly higher damages. Most cases settle. "I don't want to settle quietly," I said. "I want accountability." Elliot smiled. "That's why we include the public apology requirement. It's non-negotiable. Now, let's discuss the countermoves they'll attempt." He opened my file. "They'll claim mutual combat, say you were the aggressor. Your 6 months of silence will be painted as premeditation for a setup. They'll dig into your mental health history, work records, past relationships, anything to discredit you. I've never been in therapy, never been fired. My last relationship ended amicably 2 years ago. Good. They'll also attempt reconciliation through flying monkeys' family friends, religious figures, anyone they think you'll listen to. Document every contact, but don't engage." They may escalate to harassment, stalking, or property damage. Install cameras at your apartment if you haven't already. Done yesterday? Perfect. Now, there's something else. Elliot's expression grew serious. Tom's text mentioned Dale's lawyer. I checked court records. Dale retained Mitchell Hawthorne from Hawthorne and Associates. He's competent but known for aggressive tactics and playing dirty. He'll likely advise Dale to countersue for defamation based on the false police report. But it's not false. Of course not. It's an intimidation tactic. They file to make you spend money defending yourself, hoping you'll drop everything for dismissal. We won't flinch. Sandra knocked and entered. Mr. Lane, the prosecutor's office is on line 2. Elliot took the call on speaker with my permission. This is Elliot Lane. Mr. Lane, this is Ada Jennifer Torres. I'm calling about the Dale Mercer case. We've reviewed the evidence your client provided. We're moving forward with charges assault in the 4th degree and harassment. However, Mr. Mercer's attorney is already pushing for a plea deal. What are they offering? Anger management and probation in exchange for reducing to just harassment. No jail time. I shook my head vigorously. My client needs to consider this. Elliot said diplomatically. When do you need an answer? By the arraignment Thursday at 9 a.m.? After she hung up, Elliot turned to me. You can reject the plea deal, but understand that trials are unpredictable. Even with strong evidence, a sympathetic local jury might side with the family man over the vindictive daughter. I have video of him punching me, and they'll say you provoked him for 6 months to get that video. I'm not saying don't fight. I'm saying understand the battlefield. I thought about every family gathering where Dale held court, every time my achievements were dismissed, every bruise explained away as clumsiness. We fight, criminal and civil, all of it. Elliot made notes. Then we need to prepare for total war. They'll throw everything at you: character assassination, financial pressure, emotional manipulation. Are you ready? I've been ready for 6 months. Good, because based on Mitchell Hawthorne's reputation and these harassment attempts from your family, they're not planning to go quietly either. He handed me a business card. This is Dr. Ruth Martinez, a psychiatrist who works with assault victims. Document your emotional distress. It strengthens our civil case and helps you personally. As I left his office, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. You have no idea what you've started. Drop this now or lose everything including your job. I forwarded it to Elliot immediately. His response was swift. They're getting desperate. Perfect. The chess match had begun, and I finally had a grandmaster on my side. The family mediator showed up at my workplace on Monday morning at 8:45 a.m. I was reviewing revenue reports when reception called. Ms. Sutton, there's a Dr. Patricia Thornwood here saying she has an appointment with you regarding family matters. I knew immediately this was Dale's play. I don't have any appointments. Please ask security to escort her out. 20 minutes later, my supervisor knocked on my cubicle. Mara, HR needs to see you. My stomach dropped. In HR, I found Dr. Thornwood, a woman in her 60s with a practiced, sympathetic smile, sitting with our HR director. Janet. Mara, Janet began carefully. Dr. Thornwood says she's been hired by your family to facilitate healing after a recent incident. She's concerned about your well-being. I'm concerned about Mara's mental state, Thornwood interjected. Her family reports she's been paranoid, recording conversations, making false accusations. Stop! I pulled out my phone. Janet, I'm recording this for my attorney, Dr. Thornwood. I have an active restraining order against Dale Mercer. Any contact from his representatives could be considered violation of that order. Please leave immediately or I'll call the police. Thornwood's mask slipped. You're proving their point about instability. Janet, I was assaulted 5 days ago. The ER documents and police reports are real. This woman is harassing me at my workplace on behalf of my attacker. I need security now. Janet's face hardened. Dr. Thornwood, you need to leave. Now. After she left, Janet turned to me. Do you need additional security? Should we ban specific individuals from the premises? I'll send you a list. That afternoon, Dale escalated. A process server found me in the parking lot. Mara Sutton. You're being sued for defamation, emotional distress, and filing a false police report. I called Elliot immediately. He laughed. He actually did it. Mitchell must be desperate. This is good for us. Now we can request discovery. All of Dale's financial records, text messages, emails, everything becomes fair game. But the legal fees, countersuit for malicious prosecution when we win, he'll pay your fees plus damages. Trust me. That evening, Lana went live on Instagram. I watched from a fake account as she painted herself as the victim, tears streaming down her face. My sister is destroying our family, she sobbed to her 3,000 followers. She's always been jealous of me. Now she's making up lies about my stepdad, who's been nothing but generous to her. She even called the cops on him. He spent a night in jail because of her delusions. The comments were brutal. Your sister sounds toxic. Classic narcissist behavior. Dale should sue her for everything. I screen recorded the entire video, noting the defamatory statements. Elliot would love this. Then came Dale's masterstroke, or so he thought. A check arrived by certified mail for $15,000 with a letter from Mitchell Hawthorne. In the interest of family harmony, Mr. Mercer offers this generous settlement. Endorsing this check constitutes full release of all claims and agreement to vacate the restraining order. I photographed both without touching the check and sent them to Elliot. He's trying to trick you into settling, Elliot explained. If you cash that check, our case could be over. Mail it back certified with a letter stating you refuse the offer. That Thursday, my cousin Sarah, the one family member I'd thought might support me, called from a number I hadn't blocked. Mara, please, I'm at your mom's house. She's had a breakdown. She's on medication now. Can't stop crying. Dale's lost his job because of the arrest. Lana had to drop out of her art program because they can't afford it. You've destroyed them. Dale destroyed them when he chose violence. It was one mistake. He's been in that family for 13 years. You're going to ruin 3 lives over one drunken moment. Sarah, he's hit me before. This was just the first time I had proof. Silence. Then, you're lying. The bruises on my arms 3 Christmases ago, Dale. The fall that split my lip at Thanksgiving. Dale. Stop. Just stop. You're sick. Mara. You need help. She hung up. I added her to the block list. The intimidation peaked that Saturday night. I woke at 2:30 a.m. to my phone exploding with notifications. Someone had posted my address and phone number on several websites claiming I was a homewrecker looking for affairs. The posts included photos from my social media and the caption, "This woman destroyed her family and wants to destroy yours too." My apartment building's security called minutes later. Ms. Sutton, we've had to turn away several men who showed up saying you invited them over. We've called the police. I spent the rest of the night filing reports, changing my phone number, and documenting everything. Elliot filed an emergency motion the next morning alleging witness tampering and harassment. They've overplayed their hand, he said. No judge will see this campaign of terror as anything but what it is: desperate attempts to silence a victim. Monday morning, as I was preparing for the restraining order hearing, one final attempt arrived via my work email from my mother. Mara, I'm begging you. Dale has agreed to anger management. We'll go to family therapy. He'll apologize publicly. Just please drop the criminal charges. We can handle the rest privately. Don't let strangers decide our family's fate. I love you. Please come home. I stared at those words, I love you, and wondered when she'd last said them without wanting something in return. I didn't reply. The time for negotiations was over. In 48 hours, we'd face each other in court, and the evidence would speak louder than any mother's tears. The Riverton County Courthouse stood like a gray monument to justice at 9 a.m. on Wednesday morning. I arrived with Elliot, my hands steady despite the crowd of family members clustered near the entrance. Vivian was there in her best black dress, tissues already in hand. Lana stood beside her, phone out, likely streaming. Dale's brothers flanked him like bodyguards while Mitchell Hawthorne, his attorney, reviewed notes. Don't look at them, Elliot murmured. Straight ahead. You're here for justice, not drama. Courtroom 3 was smaller than I'd expected. Judge Helen Morrison presided, a woman in her 50s with sharp eyes that missed nothing. The hearing was for my permanent restraining order, but it would set the tone for everything to follow. We're here for case number 7842, Sutton versus Mercer. Judge Morrison began. Ms. Sutton seeks a permanent restraining order. Mr. Lane, please present your evidence. Elliot stood smoothly. Your Honor, we have video evidence of the assault, medical documentation, and a pattern of escalating threats. The video played on the courtroom monitor. The slap, the punch, my body hitting the doorframe. In the gallery, someone gasped. I kept my eyes on the judge, watching her jaw tighten as Dale's voice boomed from the recording. You want to disrespect me in my own house. Next came the photos of my face that night, the progression of bruises over the following days, the medical report detailing bruised ribs and facial contusions. Additionally, Your Honor, Elliot continued, we have documented harassment following the incident. He presented the threatening texts, Tom's admission that Dale hit me, the false Craigslist posts, Dr. Thornwood's workplace ambush. Mitchell Hawthorne stood for cross-examination. Ms. Sutton, isn't it true you installed hidden cameras before this incident? Yes. So you anticipated violence? I documented it. There's a difference. You remained silent for 6 months, then suddenly called police. Sounds like entrapment. Elliot objected. Victim blaming. Your Honor, Ms. Sutton's preparation doesn't negate Mr. Mercer's assault. Sustained. Mr. Hawthorne, focus on the facts of the incident. Hawthorne shifted tactics. The video doesn't show what happened before. Ms. Sutton could have provoked. I said no to giving money. I interrupted. That's the provocation. It's on the audio. Dale suddenly stood. This is bullshit. She's tearing apart our family over nothing. Judge Morrison's gavel cracked. Mr. Mercer, you'll remain seated and silent or be removed. Your Honor, Mitchell said quickly. My client is understandably emotional. His family is in turmoil. Because he assaulted Ms. Sutton, Elliot interjected. The video is clear. The medical evidence is undeniable. The harassment campaign that followed only confirms Mr. Mercer's pattern of attempting to control and silence my client. Judge Morrison reviewed the documents again. Mr. Hawthorne, does your client deny striking Ms. Sutton? He admits to a mutual altercation where both parties. That's not what I see on this video. I see Mr. Mercer striking Ms. Sutton multiple times while she attempts to leave. I see Ms. Sutton calling 911 while bleeding. She turned to Dale. Mr. Mercer, I'm granting the permanent restraining order. You are to stay 500 feet away from Ms. Sutton, her residence, and workplace for 3 years. Any violation will result in immediate arrest. Dale erupted. This is my family. You can't. I can and I have. Furthermore, Mr. Mercer, your behavior in my courtroom today demonstrates a concerning lack of impulse control. I'm recommending the criminal court consider this in their proceedings. As the judge continued outlining the order's terms, Vivian began sobbing loudly. Lana stood up, phone raised, shouting, This is injustice. My sister is a liar. Remove that young woman. Judge Morrison ordered the bailiff. No recording in my courtroom. As Lana was escorted out, still yelling, Dale made his crucial mistake. During the chaos, he moved toward me, finger pointed. You'll regret this, you lying. The bailiff intercepted him 3 feet from me, well within the freshly issued restraining order distance. Judge Morrison's voice was ice. Mr. Mercer, you've just violated the restraining order I issued 60 seconds ago. Bailiff, take him into custody. What? No, Mitchell protested. Your Honor, he was emotional. He didn't mean. He meant to intimidate Ms. Sutton in my courtroom, immediately after being ordered to stay away. Contempt of court and violation of a protective order. He'll be held pending criminal court appearance. The courtroom exploded. Vivian screamed. Dale struggled against the handcuffs. His brothers shouted about injustice. Through it all, I sat perfectly still, watching the man who'd terrorized me for years being led away in restraints. Elliot leaned over. That couldn't have gone better if we'd scripted it. As we gathered our documents to leave, Judge Morrison addressed me directly. Ms. Sutton, I've seen many domestic violence cases. Your preparation and documentation are exemplary. Stay strong. Outside the courtroom, Vivian blocked our path, mascara streaming down her face. How could you? He's going to jail because of you. He's going to jail because of his choices, Elliot said firmly. Please step aside or we'll report this as harassment. She moved, but her parting words followed me. You're no daughter of mine. The words should have hurt. Instead, they felt like freedom. The restraining order was just paper, but Dale in handcuffs that was justice beginning to unfold. The civil trial began 3 weeks later in the same courthouse, but in the larger courtroom 1, Dale had been released on bail after his contempt charge, though the criminal trial was still pending. Today was about damages making him pay financially for what he'd done physically and emotionally. The jury box held 12 strangers who would decide my worth in dollars. Elliot had coached me thoroughly. Be honest, be specific, but don't overplay the emotion. Let the evidence create the impact. Elliot's opening statement was a masterpiece of timeline construction. He walked the jury through years of escalation, using a presentation board with dates, incidents, and photographs. This isn't about one night of violence, he said. This is about systematic abuse that culminated in assault, followed by a campaign of harassment designed to silence Ms. Sutton. Mitchell Hawthorne's opening painted me as a calculating opportunist. Ms. Sutton planned this. She installed cameras, maintained silence for months, then provoked in confrontation to extract money from a hard-working family man. The first day was my testimony. Elliot led me through the history, every shove, every threat, every humiliation. When we reached the night of the assault, he played the video again. Several jurors flinched at the sound of Dale's fist connecting with my ribs. How did you feel in that moment? Elliot asked. Like I was finally seeing him clearly. No more pretense of joking around. Just violence. Cross-examination was brutal. Mitchell hammered at my 6-month silence, my hidden cameras, my convenient documentation. You're asking this jury to believe you predicted Mr. Mercer would become violent. I'm telling this jury I recognized a pattern. Abusers escalate. I prepared for what I hoped wouldn't happen, but knew probably would. So you're an expert on abuse now. I'm an expert on Dale Mercer. 13 years of expertise. Day 2 brought witnesses. The ER doctor testified about my injuries. The bruising pattern was consistent with blunt force trauma from fists, not accidental contact. My supervisor Janet testified about Dr. Thornwood's ambush and my exemplary work record. Mara has never exhibited instability or vindictiveness. She's our most reliable analyst. Then came the surprise witness Grandma. Vivian gasped when she wheeled herself in. Mrs. Patterson, Elliot began. You're Vivian Mercer's mother. I am, and I'm here to tell the truth about Dale Mercer. She detailed incidents she'd witnessed Dale grabbing my arm hard enough to leave marks, throwing objects when angry, the slow erosion of my spirit over years. Why didn't you speak up before? Elliot asked gently. I tried. Vivian wouldn't hear it. She'd chosen him over her daughter long ago, but I won't be silent watching Mara be crucified for defending herself. Mitchell's cross was careful you don't attack an elderly woman in front of a jury, but he tried to undermine her. Your health issues might affect your memory. My body is failing, young man, not my mind. I know what I saw. Day 3 was the defense's turn. Vivian took the stand, crying before she even sat down. She painted a picture of a happy family destroyed by my jealousy and mental instability. Elliot's cross-examination was surgical. Mrs. Mercer, you saw Dale hit your daughter. It was a misunderstanding. Yes or no? Did you see him hit her? Yes, but did you call 911? No. Did you try to stop him? It happened so fast. Did you check on your daughter after she was struck? Silence. Mrs. Mercer. No. Lana's testimony backfired spectacularly. She admitted to recording the assault for social media, thinking it was funny drama. When Elliot played her Instagram live video where she called me psychotic and dangerous, several jurors looked disgusted. Dale took the stand last. Mitchell tried to humanize him hard-working contractor, providing for his family. One mistake blown out of proportion. Then Elliot began, Mr. Mercer, you texted Mara, keep this attitude up and see what happens. What did you mean, just fatherly concern? Elliot displayed the text on screen, dated 2 weeks before the assault. Fatherly concern includes threats. He walked Dale through every piece of evidence, Kate a threatening message, each admission. Then came the killing blow. Mr. Mercer, in this courtroom 3 weeks ago, immediately after being ordered to stay away from Ms. Sutton, what did you do? I was emotional. You approached her aggressively, correct within minutes of a judge's direct order. I wasn't thinking. Exactly. You weren't thinking about consequences, about law, about anything except intimidating Ms. Sutton, just like the night you assaulted her. Dale's composure cracked. She destroyed my family. No, Mr. Mercer, you did that yourself. Closing arguments were brief. Mitchell pleaded for reason, for family values, for forgiveness. Elliot simply pointed to the evidence board photos, medical records, video stills. Dale Mercer took his fists to Mara Sutton because she said no. Then he tried to silence her through harassment, intimidation, and legal threats. Now he wants you to say that's acceptable. Show him it's not. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. When they returned, the forewoman stood. We fined for the plaintiff. Compensatory damages of $35,000. Punitive damages of $65,000. $100,000 total. Dale's face went white. Mitchell whispered urgently about appeals. But the best moment came as we gathered our materials. Judge Morrison spoke directly to Dale. Mr. Mercer, I'm also ordering you to provide a written public apology, notarized and published in the Riverton Gazette, within 30 days. Any failure to comply will be contempt of court. As we walked toward the exit, Dale made one last attempt, stepping into the hallway despite his lawyer's grasp. This isn't over. The bailiff materialized immediately. Mr. Mercer, you're within 50 feet of Ms. Sutton. That's a violation of the restraining order. The handcuffs clicked again. This time, he didn't struggle. He knew he'd lost everything: money, reputation, freedom. The person being led away in cuffs, for the second time, wasn't me. It was finally over. The courthouse steps were cold beneath my feet as I walked out into the afternoon air. The October wind cut sharp across my face, but I barely felt it. Behind me, through the courthouse doors, Dale was being processed for his second restraining order violation. His bail would be revoked this time. Mitchell Hawthorne had whispered as much when he'd brushed past me, defeat written in every line of his expensive suit. My phone buzzed. Elliot's text was simple. Payment arrangement confirmed. Full amount due within 30 days. Apology to run in Sunday's edition. $100,000. A public apology. A restraining order. A criminal trial still pending where Dale faced up to a year in jail. 6 months ago, when I'd sat in my apartment mapping out possible outcomes, I hadn't dared imagine this level of complete victory. Another text came through, this one from Janet at HR. Saw the news. The company is implementing new security protocols based on your case. You've helped protect everyone here. Take all the time you need. I sat down on a concrete bench, suddenly exhausted. The adrenaline that had carried me through weeks of legal battles was fading, leaving behind a strange emptiness. Not regret, never that, but a recognition of what this victory had cost. My family was gone, not just fractured or distant, but completely severed. Vivian had made good on her promise I was no daughter of hers. Lana had pivoted her social media to playing the victim of a toxic sister, though her follower count had plummeted after the trial coverage. The extended family had chosen their side, and it wasn't mine. Only Grandma remained. She'd called that morning, her voice warm despite everything. "I'm proud of you, sweetheart. Someone needed to stand up to him. I just wish I'd been strong enough to do it years ago." "It wasn't your fight. Grandma—" "No, but I should have fought anyway. That's what family really means." The Riverton Gazette would run Dale's apology in 3 days. Elliot had insisted on approval rights for the text, no minimizing, no excuses, just clear admission of assault and responsibility. The thought of everyone in town reading Dale's confession over their Sunday coffee gave me a satisfaction I hadn't expected. I stood up, ready to leave this courthouse behind for good, when I noticed someone sitting on the steps. A young woman, maybe 22, with a bruised jaw poorly hidden by makeup. She was staring at the courthouse doors like they might bite. "Restraining order," I asked gently, sitting beside her. She nodded, tears starting. "My boyfriend. But I'm scared. His family's connected. They say I'm overreacting." I pulled out Elliot's card from my purse. "Call this lawyer. Tell him Mara Sutton referred you, and document everything: photos, texts, medical records. Even if you think it's minor." "Does it get easier?" I thought about the honest answer. "No, but you get stronger. And walking away with your dignity and safety intact is worth more than keeping a toxic peace." She took the card, fingers trembling. "Thank you." As I walked to my car, I realized this was how it would be now. No family holiday gatherings, no shared celebrations, no mother to call when life got hard, but also no walking on eggshells, no bruises to hide, no more shrinking myself to avoid Dale's anger or my mother's enabling. My phone rang. Elliot. "Dale's being held without bail due to the repeated violations. The criminal trial's been expedited to next month. The prosecutor thinks with his courthouse behavior on record, we're looking at definite jail time." "Good. Mara, you should know Vivian called my office. She wants to discuss a reconciliation after Dale serves his sentence." "No." "You sure?" She sounded. "She made her choice every time she watched him hurt me and did nothing. That doesn't get undone because he finally faced consequences." There was approval in Elliot's voice. "You've learned the most important lesson in these situations. Forgiveness isn't required for healing." After we hung up, I sat in my car for a moment, engine running. The radio was playing something upbeat and forgettable. The sun was setting over Riverton, painting the sky in shades of amber and rose. It was beautiful. I was alive. I was free. My phone buzzed one last time. A notification from my bank: the first payment from Dale's settlement had been processed. $33,000, with the remainder due in 2 installments. Blood money, some might call it. I called it justice. I called it the price of my silence finally being broken. I pulled out of the courthouse parking lot, leaving that chapter of my life in the rearview mirror. Tomorrow, I'd look for a new apartment, maybe in a different city. Somewhere Dale's shadow couldn't reach, even if he wanted to violate the restraining order again. Somewhere I could build a life defined by my choices, not my endurance. The last thing I did before driving away was block my mother's number. Not out of anger, but out of acceptance. Some bridges, once burned, should stay ash. Some families are better lost than kept. I turned the radio up and headed home, my temporary home, but mine nonetheless. In my purse, my phone stayed silent. No more threatening texts, no more guilt trips, no more gaslighting, just silence. But this time, it was my choice, and that made all the difference. Thank you so much for listening to my story. I hope it resonated with those of you who faced similar situations and found the courage to stand up for yourselves. I'd love to know where you're listening from. Please drop a comment below and let's connect. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you found this story meaningful, and please share your thoughts in the comments. Your own experiences and perspectives matter, and this community is here to support each other. Until next time, Stay strong and never let anyone dim your light.